What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fantasy Sports Now. We got the injury report as of Friday, 5/21. Let's just jump right into the content. This week, we actually have a lot better news than most times. We have actually some good things to talk about. There's a lot less injuries and a lot more progress coming back to the field, which is great. And we'll start with DeGrom. This is actually slightly out of date update here. This says he's expected to make his rehab start. He did make that rehab start, and he was absolutely dominating, which we expect, one of the top two pitchers in baseball to go to a low A game and dominate. But I guess had he not dominated, I'd be very concerned. But I think that he is well on his way, and I think that he's going to be back like ASAP. Honestly, this might be his only start that he has to make. And I think that that's great news. I heard he was throwing 102, which to me, throwing that hard is concerning. But so far, his arm has been clean, and all of his injuries have been kind of like this. This is lower back injury, so this is great news for everybody involved. Kenta Maeda, he got hurt in his last start, the groin kind of injury. This one's a little concerning to me because it sounds like rest was the answer, which is good. He has struggled this year, which these two things could be related, obviously. If he's had this groin kind of pull and he's been pitching on it this whole time, it could explain why he's been struggling. But if that's the reason why he's struggling, then he didn't really have a DL, like a big like wait time. It's probably going to still aggravate him on Friday today. So the good news is he's going to make a start. It's kind of a double-edged sword here, right? It's like good news, he's going to make a start. Bad news is if the groin was why he's making bad starts, well, that problem's not going to go away. So we'll have to see kind of how this goes. I think he's rather going to turn around and go right on the IL after this start, or he's going to be okay and he's going to start to get better. He's a good pitcher and he's been good. So I'm not sure what's going on with him, but an injury would and could explain it here. Next, Quito Marte, finally coming back, which is great news. He's had all sorts of injuries this, off season and into the season. This one in particular that held him back was a hamstring, and I'm glad that they took their time with him because I feel like if had they not, it would have come back and it would have lingered and then would have continued to go on and off the IL. So it's good to see him coming back and at full strength and be ready to go because boy does Arizona need that offensive punch. And honestly, Marte is to me one of the most underrated baseball players right now in the entire league. So great to see him back. More good news for LA. Bellinger he's basically back at this point. He's in AAA. He's hitting. He's doing all the things that you want to see. And obviously he had like a fracture, so like it's not one of these things that's going to linger. It's not like he sprained his ankle or his hamstring and it's not a muscle issue. It's literally a fracture bone issue. So he should, once he feels like he's back in game shape and he's ready to go, he should be ready to go. They're saying end of May, which is pretty much now. It's almost the end of May, so I almost expect to see him next week. So that's huge news for all of you who have Bellinger, and great for the Dodgers, obviously, who need that punch now that Seager's out for a little while here. Strasburg is going to pitch tonight as well, so this is good news. Washington obviously lasted in the division, at least last I checked. So it has not been good for Washington, and they need to get their guys back. They need Strasburg, and they need him to be healthy. Do I think that he's going to come back and be successful? Of course I do. Do I think that he's going to come back and finish the season without any other injuries? No, I mean, how can you? Honestly, it's hard to think that Strasburg can go for half a season without getting injured. And that is unfortunate because I like to watch Strasburg pitch. He's great. He's phenomenal when he's out there. So we'll see what happens here. Shoulder inflammation is not really what you want to see, so we'll see what happens with Strasburg. But he's back, he's pitching, and we'll see what happens. More good news is Santander is coming back finally. Orioles get a punch to the middle of their lineup. He was great last year, had a huge year, and he's going to be activated today. A lot of people coming back today. That's great. He's going to slot basically right back into the 3, 4, 5 spot in Baltimore. Anytime you have at Baltimore kind of guy, it's a great ballpark to be hitting in, and he showed it last year. if he's available in leagues, you might want to think about picking him up, especially some of those deeper leagues that maybe somebody dropped him. So great news for Baltimore. Their offense is going to get ever so slightly more scary. So when we do the kind of streaming options, we got to keep guys like this in mind when we are picking our guys. We'll still target Baltimore, but maybe not as much as we did before because offensively they're kind of coming alive, and this is just going to help even more so. Real Muto is also planning, well, he's hoping to play Friday. If not, it's going to be like imminent. Okay, he's got this like this wrist discomfort. It says, which can linger. It can affect power. It can affect a lot of different things throughout the season until it's really healthy. But the good news is it's catcher, right? So for fantasy purposes, a injured Real Muto is probably still better than like the third best catcher in the league, which is kind of sad hitting wise. Maybe not third, maybe more like fifth, but it's good to see that he's coming back, and it might not be today. He's hoping, or the Phillies are hoping, but it might be this weekend. But the fact is, he is coming back, and it's been a while. And they, man, talk about a team that desperately needs to get going here, and we're talking about the Phillies. So that ends the good news, and we get into the bad news. Is that for Springer, they still have absolutely no timetable for his quad. We talked about this before. We thought they rushed him in, and it sounds like that continues to be a problem. So yeah, we'll have to continue to see. It really sucks. You make all this, you pay the big bucks to get Springer. Unfortunately, he goes down, and we haven't really seen this Toronto lineup full and healthy yet. Luckily, the rest of the guys are able to hit. But boy, imagine Toronto right now with an absolute masher of Springer. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to watch, but hopefully we get to watch it. More bad news. Moustakas here, probably on a lot of guys' bench. He's out with this heel contusion. The only thing I can think of is that with these contusions, people are going on the IL. It must just be so swollen that like he can barely get a shoe on, kind of a thing. Because you see the word contusion, you're like, so his heel is bruised and he can't play. I think that's like underselling what's actually probably happening. Rather, it's super swollen, so much so that he can't get a shoe on, or it's just like incredibly painful, and it's just I think some of us have had these deep bone bruise kind of things, and some of us haven't. Those of us who have kind of understand this, and those of us who haven't probably don't as much. But I'd rather see him healthy come back. He'll come back after the 10 days, assuming his heel isn't broken. So that's all there is for Mustakas here. The last guy on the list, Pete Alonso, got this wrist issue, and he's been sitting out the last few games, and it's pretty concerning to me. We talk about wrists kind of all the time, and how a wrist can really linger and really affect your power, like in a big, big way. And Pete Alonso is basically all power. That's what he does. So anything that can affect his power is going to dramatically affect his value. And this is the kind of injury that will affect his value. So hopefully it's nothing, but I was always talked about like maybe buying low on Pete Alonso, but not after this, man. I'm gonna stick to my guns. I had a few offers for Alonso, and I think I'm gonna stick to my guns on that one just because of the sore wrist. All right, guys, that's enough. Went a little long. We'll see you next time.